Raider Nation, normal intro today. What's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, the #1 Raiders show on YouTube. Make sure you guys subscribe at youtube.com/Raiders Report. Today's show, 5 Raiders that you better not sleep on in 2019 on defense and special teams. My first player that I want to talk about is Maxx Crosby. Man, am I excited for Maxx Crosby. All reports this entire offseason have been nothing but good about Crosby. Selected in the 4th round of the 2019 draft out of Eastern Michigan and has turned into a fan favorite. You want to talk about a player who's been getting a lot of hype in the nation? It's Maxx Crosby. But guess what, NFL? You better not sleep on this guy because you want to talk about production. Production in college, sure. It's at Eastern Michigan. You can barely see the E on screen, but guess what? It's okay. We're sleeping. 70 tackles, 7.5 sacks, 19 tackles for a loss in 2018. But in 2017, he had 11 sacks. Now, people are going to be like, oh, Mitch, but he had less sacks in 2018. They asked him to do more on defense. They asked him to be more of a tackler and getting more tackles for loss. Like, they asked Maxx Crosby to do a lot at Eastern Michigan, and he was like, you know what? You got it. Gruden Grinder, take a drink. I am super excited to see what Maxx Crosby can do in 2019. But the player that he's going to be competing with for playing time, it's Arden Key. Now, reports are that Arden Key is up to 260 pounds. Is a good weight. People are talking. So I want to know, more sacks in 2019. Type K for Key, type C for Crosby, and if you like Kentucky Fried Chicken, type in KC. Next player that you don't want to sleep on, it's Marquel Lee. And I'm actually surprised that I'm putting Marquel Lee on here because I don't even know if he qualifies to be a sleeper, considering that he had 68 tackles last season. He lost 12 pounds to help in pass protection. Coach just said, hey, Marquel, we want you to be a little bit better this year. You need to lose a little bit of weight so you can be able to cover wide receivers and tight ends better. And at 250, you just weren't getting it done. So Marquel was like, okay, I think I can do that. Now he's entering year 3, okay? He's entering year 3, and I'm excited to see what Markel's going to be able to do coming off a year where he had 68 tackles, where he was behind only Tahir Whitehead in terms of tackles for the Oakland Raiders in 2018. There you see it on screen. It's 68 tackles. Now, why is he a sleeper when he had 68 tackles? It's because we went out and we got Brandon Marshall. It's because we went out and got Vontaze Burfict. Like, we've been talking about all these other additions on defense and really have kind of ignored a player who was very solid for the Raiders last season. Now, sure, he filled in for a linebacking core that wasn't as great as what it is this year, but I'm just saying this straight up. We should not sleep on Marquel Lee. So, Lee and Burfict. These are the 2 linebackers that I'm talking about right now. Who's going to have more tackles in 2019? I want you to type L for Lee, or I want you to type a nice little B for Vontaze Burfict. More tackles in 2019. Now, for those of you that are watching on YouTube, sit tight. Do not go anywhere. You're going to watch a short little commercial break, and then I'm going to come back with another player who you better not sleep on, because guess what? He's entering his 2nd year. It's P.J. Hall. Raiders didn't draft a defensive tackle in 2019, and I think a big reason behind that is because P.J. Hall, because of Maurice Hurst, and because they were confident in getting back Hankins. Like, Mo Hurst got a lot of the attention, and he deserved it. Mo Hurst showed that he was you could argue, probably the biggest steal in last year's NFL draft. But P.J. Hall also is stepping in now to his 2nd year, who was drafted in the 2nd round, and he has a big chance to emerge in 2019. You were talking about just getting after the quarterback? Sure, we didn't have a lot of sacks, but P.J. Hall tied for 3rd in the team in quarterback hits last year, who had more than Mo Hurst, okay? More than Mo Hurst. So he had 4 QB hits, and I'm wondering a player who actually has a lot of raw athleticism, P.J. Hall. If he can maybe get after the quarterback a little bit more, if he can help Mo Hurst develop a little bit more, and if maybe he can just fill in once in a while for like a Hankins. I'm excited to see what Hall can do, and I still think, even though he didn't have maybe a breakout year or a big year like Mo Hurst did, you better not sleep on this player in 2019. So Hall's last name is Hall, and you guys know that I like to have fun on here. If your significant other gave you a Hall pass, would you take it? If you don't know what a Hall pass is, Google it. Or, listen up, a hall pass is essentially like if your wife was like, you know what, honey, you can go out, you can do whatever you want with any other woman, but she gets to do the exact same thing. So if your significant other gave you a hall pass for a week, would you take it? I want you to type 4 for believe it, baby. Type 0 for tuck rule, tuck that. At first, I was like, oh yeah, I would type 4 for believe it, baby. But man, I've been talking to this girl, and I am a decent looking man, but she could get way more dudes than I could ever get girls. So maybe I should type my 0 for tuck that. All right, producer Dylan saying, move on. Instagram shout outs to these people who just followed me. Make sure you guys take a screenshot of all these. Let's continue to grow the nation on IG. Share it. Share it with me at MitchellRens365, and I'll share it on my story as well. Also want to give a special shout out to people who follow me on Twitter. I'm interacting with people every single day on IG and on Twitter, and you make my job here at Chat Sports. You make the Raiders Report literally the #1 show on YouTube and on Facebook. So, nation, I salute you. All right, let's get back into it. The reason why it's defense and special teams is because it's Daniel Carlson. Do not sleep on my dude, Daniel Carlson. The first kicker drafted in 2018. He is the all-time scoring leader in the SEC. And here's the other thing. He finished off the season strong last year for the Raiders, making 12 straight field goals. Now, I don't know if you remember, but Carlson was drafted by the Vikings, missed 3 field goals in a game, and then they cut him. And the Raiders were like, okay, this kid's pretty good. We're going to go out and get Daniel Carlson, who last season, 16-17, 94.1 in terms of percentage of field goals made. I never saw a lot of 94s on test grades, but I know when I see it on screen, it's a good thing. 18 of 18, not a math major, but that might be 100% in terms of extra points made to attempted. I'm excited to see what Carlson's going to do in year 2. A year where he's going to get his confidence back, his swagger, because guess what? Once he got that confidence and swagger, he was kicking field goals. He was making game winners for the Raiders in 2019. So I'm typing my Y for yes. Spoiler alert. I'm typing my Y for yes. Am I confident in Daniel Carlson? Hell yeah, I am. Y for yes. And if you're not, at least tell me why that you're not confident in a kicker like Daniel Carlson, who, considering everything that he went through last year, is still being able to make an NFL roster. And I think that last season, the fact that he went 94%, that should alone make you confident in Daniel Carlson. Now I'm going to take a quick power nap. We're talking about sleepers here. So, for those of you that are watching on YouTube, hang out. It's going to be a quick power nap, I promise. So it'll be a quick commercial break, and then I'm going to give you my last sleeper on defense and special teams. It's Te'von Coney. Now, I am super excited that the Raiders ended up getting this kid as an undrafted free agent. Now, I will never wish that somebody goes undrafted, but the fact that Tom had him as a round 4 grade is really telling. Coney at Notre Dame, I think, was the defensive leader on that team. He was the captain on that team, and heck, he led the team in tackles with 123. He earned 2018 AP third team All-American honors. This kid is a ball player. This kid is a drink, Gruden grinder. He is a player who's going to show up every single day to practice, and he's going to show up every single day, and he's going to give everything that he's got. And I don't care that he's an undrafted free agent, because when I see what this kid did at Notre Dame last year, 123 tackles, 9.5 tackles for a loss, 1 interception, 4 sacks. But you ask any coach, you ask any player for Notre Dame last year and said, who was the leader on that defense? It was Te'von Coney. And now he might not be an impact player right away for the Raiders, but this is going to be a kid who makes the 53-man roster, and this is going to be a kid who, I'm telling you right now, 3 years down the road, we're like, damn, I can't believe we got him as a UDFA. Now, I already kind of gave away my answer, but that's okay, because this show is more about you guys anyway. Will Te'von Coney make the 53-man roster? I'm typing my 53 for yes. There you go. I'm typing my 53 for yes, and I want you guys to type your 53 for yes too, because I'm telling you right now, Coney, this dude, don't sleep on him. He's making the 53-man roster. Now, my 5 sleepers that you better keep an eye on defense and on special teams in 2019 for the Oakland Raiders. Maxx Crosby at number 1. Heck, he could even end up getting a starting position over Arden Key. Marquel Lee, who had 68 tackles. I don't even know if he's a sleeper, but when you look at all the other offseason additions we made, he's on my list. P.J. Hall entering his second year. Daniel Carlson, I'm hoping to kick it with this guy one day. And then Te'von Coney, linebacker, UDFA. I'm telling you right now, 5 sleepers you better keep an eye on in 2019. Now, we are the #1 show on YouTube and on Facebook, thanks to Raider Nation. So make sure you tell other people to subscribe and tell other people to hit that notification so you know exactly when we go live. I'll be going live Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, so you better be a part of the Noti game. Raider Nation, I'll see you Tuesday. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.